So basically I'm asking you, is your lifestyle a lifestyle of worship to God? Are my habits of integrity? Are my attitudes an attitude of fairness, honesty, and integrity? Are my taste of honesty and integrity? And are my moral standards of integrity? That's worship. Again, what we do in here is a manifestation of our life of worship. Now I can get to where I'm trying to go. I want to pose a question. Is your worship qualified for the presence?
That's good.
Is your worship qualified for the presence? Y'all looking at me strange. So there are qualifications, things that God expects of us to be the recipient of His manifest presence. We all know God is omniscient. He is omnipresent. He is everywhere at all times. You know, where can we go where God isn't? Nowhere. That's a difference. There is a difference in God's omniscient presence and His manifest presence. Now, Pastor Beatty talked a few weeks ago. I'm going to tell y'all I was listening. He said manifest presence is influence. Right? And influence is byproduct of God's manifest presence. My question to you is your worship qualified for the presence? Am I making sense here? All right. So what are the qualifications? Do we believe there are qualifications, or is God's presence just kind of, if we want Him to be present, He just is present? What do you think?
I think there are things that I don't want to say things that we must do, but I do think that there are standards and certain accommodations that we need to make that welcomes the manifest presence of God among us.
Conditions.
I would use the term even accommodations. If you invite me to your house, whether or not I show up is going to depend on what the accommodations are. Not necessarily you just want me to come, so I just need to come. Like, I'm not going to go somewhere where I don't feel welcome or safe or even relaxed. I'm not going to sit among things that would make me uncomfortable. And so I think that if we want the manifest presence of God among us, there are certain accommodations that we need to make that would allow God to be comfortable among us.
Mm-hmm. I'll say it.
Wow, that's some good stuff. Just hearing that, I think that the thing that I believe that the thing that is needed for the manifest presence of God, because if His manifest presence were simply if
means to honor God and what it means to worship. I'm going to throw out a word that we don't use it very often, and a word that I'm going to, now don't throw anything at me. Don't throw nothing at me. I'm going to throw out a word that we don't use very often, but I'm also going to challenge our understanding of what it means, because it seemed really abstract to me when I was younger. But I want us to visit, as we talk about, is our worship qualified for the presence? I want to just kind of toss out the word holy and examine what that means. Like you said, our behaviors are never going to be good enough for it. I remember I went to the left because I was trying to be good. And my behavior in being good was only as effective as my willpower. It was only as effective as my willpower. And some days that was good, some days it wasn't. And so I was at a point where I was like, well, I'm never gonna be qualified. I'm not even gonna be saved that good. And it was discouraging because I had a false sense of what it meant to be holy. And we would toss that word around and never gave any clarity or understanding of what it meant to be holy. And I think we throw it around now, and the understanding that of what I get from it is to be holy means to check off all the boxes. I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't do this, and I don't do that. And so what happens is we will declare ourselves to be holy because we don't do the things that we determine in our heads to be the bad stuff. Who agrees with that? We determine in our heads we don't do the bad stuff. But what I would say to you is none of us are able through our willpower to live such that we can declare ourselves to be holy. So we have to examine when God says, I'm holy, so you should be holy. What does that mean? Because we have talked about worship, we've talked about presence, and presence simply means immediate vicinity, right? Mm-hmm. Proximity. Now, the thing about God is, when God says we must be holy as He is holy, God's holiness, in my studies, what I get from it is that God's holiness means that He is pure in motive. Are we pure in motive? Even when we sit down and check those boxes, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't do this, I don't do that, and then we declare ourselves to be better or more saved than the next person. But what is our motive? Is our motive to be able to say, I'm more saved than the next person? I should have higher esteem because I don't do that. I have higher esteem because I don't do this. Is our motive that if I check off all of these boxes, then God will give me things? What is our motive? God is pure in motive. Now, we just talked about honor. Honor is honesty, integrity, and our beliefs and our acts. We give God honor when we are honest and we have integrity. And that definitely has to apply to our motives. God's motives are pure. Are our motives pure? Because that's how we begin to live a life that's holy, that will qualify us for His presence. Does that make sense? Y'all looking at me strange.
That's good stuff.
Y'all looking at me strange. Come on. You were about to say something.